Hey bro,
Yes,
we have encountered class का sufficient of class B.
but I read somewhere that that class can accept object of type B.
Oh really? Tell us the source of your information.
Oh yeah, let me see whether I have that link or not. It was some blog. I think that that blog writer has corrected his mistake, and he was actually not right about using object of type B. Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about how you should be using other non-official technical blogs written by our fellow developers. So let's get to it. Now here I am not undermining the efforts taken by developers to write and research about particular topics and then cover those topics in their blogs. But there is a thin line between official documentation of any language or the third party unofficial coverage on any particular blog by any developer. First, we have to understand the difference between official technical documentation of any language or framework and blogs written by some other developers, right? So, the official documentation of any language is the factual information about how that language operates and what kind of signatures any particular method is having and how one should be using that particular framework or method, right? But on the other hand, technical blogs written by developers are more about that they have tried something and this is what they have found out after their experimentation. So it's all about their opinions and the result of their practices. While the official documentation should contain and does contain only the meat of the problem or the solution they are offering, the blogs, on the other hand, can contain opinions about the framework and writers' thought process, in addition to the real factual things about that particular framework. But that does not mean that that's how you should be using that particular function in your programs, right? So you should always be depending on the official documentation of any particular language or framework you are using to uh, dig the information about how you should be using that function or particular method or framework correctly instead of relying on blogs, right? See, you just go to blogs, read about writer's experimentation and his result. Now it's your duty to cross verify those results and experimentation against the official documentation, so you know that you are in correct situation to implement that particular feature or method or function or framework correctly in your own implementation, and you are not taking anybody's words for granted, right? There's also one major problem I think that is there with unofficial blogs, that is blog writers can choose to be not factually correct. See, if I am writing some kind of blog, I have done some kind of research, right? And then I am trying to write upon that particular topic, right? So it is all about my thought process and my opinions and my experimentation, right? I can take any function from any programming language and use it according to me, and based on my experimentation I can write my own blog, right? Now I can be factually correct about the implementation and the uses of the method, but I can be factually incorrect as well, right? See, if a method is accepting the object of type A, but instead of passing object of type A, I passed object of type B, and still my program worked. See, so that is my interpretation of how things worked out in my particular setting. It does not mean that the language is supporting object of type B as an argument to that particular function. And in fact, if you go to that particular documentation and there is this particular note that if you are going to pass object of type B, the method is can fail or can throw some kind of exception, right? But as I have tried that and I never encountered an error in that particular case, so that is my interpretation. Let's consider a practical scenario. Suppose there is one user, John, right? So he goes to particular Java documentation and reads something about collection framework, right? Now he's all excited about teaching other people that he has learned something about collection, which is definitely a good way of sharing knowledge and educating others about your research and new learnings, right? Now he learns something and he tested out something and he is ready with a particular firm example which he is able to put out in front of other people who are willing to learn more about Java collection framework. He has put up a new blog post about Java collection framework, right? So do you really think that he is 100% factually correct in his blog post? Although he can be and he should be if he is trying to establish some kind of authoritative record in front of his potential readers and for his own future sake as a developer, right? So he can be very much factually correct, but the chances of him being 100% factually correct in his own coverage of Java collection framework are somewhat less. So here we are accepting that some information is going to be obscured in his coverage of Java collections framework, right? Now consider some another user who wants to learn more about Java collection framework and he suddenly encounters John's post about Java collection framework, which is a crisp and clear way of learning about Java collection frameworks easily, right? So now this user lands on John's post and read through all of that particular post and learn many things about Java collection frameworks. Now he is also able to design some program and now he also wants to write something about collection frameworks in his own blog, right? Now do you really think that he has absorbed 100% of the material or the opinions or the experimentation result John has put up on his blog? The answer is obviously no. So he might have received like 95% or 99% of the information and then he has some of his own thought process as well as going on in his mind, right? So he is going to cover that particular factual information in his own blog in terms of his own thought process and whatever he has learned from John's blog. So if John's blog has covered 95% of the information, this user is going to cover 95% of the information on John's blog, right? So there is a dissipation of information, or you can say that information is going to be obscured more and more as more and more users are thrown into this mix, right? So I would recommend that you should always treat official documentation as the ultimate source of your knowledge about any particular framework, right? So that you actually know that what kind of arguments are required in particular function without the layer of any other opinion about the frameworks, and it is just you and the technical designer of the documentation, right? So and there is no party in between, right? So the obscurity of the information will be less in that particular case if you are reading directly from official documentation, right? See, you can read others blogs, take the meat of that particular blog post and try to cross verify whether they are factually correct or not. If they are factually correct, then you can just go ahead and use that particular blog and to implement your solution, right? But you should really take your time to verify the writer's conclusion and experimentation.